Well, good evening. We're just setting up our internet tonight, and we're using a different one that we used in the morning. So maybe we'll get a better response. Who knows? So we just a few minutes to beginning, and let me just pick up on my phone as I do in the morning, just to make sure that we're there. Good. I think we're there. So we're trying a different internet tonight to see if that helps us a little. As you know, if you've been on in the morning, we've had a lot of trouble this week for different reasons. So here we are. Let's see if we can make this work tonight. It's been a very strange day here today. A lot of heavy rain during the daytime today, but also very hot in between the rainstorms. So we are warm. It is hot in here tonight in my office. Hi, Paul. I'm using the mobile box tonight, Paul. So let's see what happens. So it's been wet and sticky today. Mary's been out visiting one of her home groups, which is also a WhatsApp group today, and that's gone very well. And I've been working in the office on Saturday's conference, and also I've finished 1 Timothy and I'm starting on Revelation as part of my January Bible week. So that's been really nice. So I've been seeing from England today. It's very cold in England, and I'm very sad because it's very cold here, actually. We're shivering. Hi, David and Pat. It's been very cold here tonight. We're shivering, actually. Terrible. One of these, I have to put our coats on. I can tell you what it is. It is 29 at the moment. Dear me. Yeah, well, that's Africa, isn't it? That's how we are. So we have just a few minutes, 20 minutes together, looking at Dreaming. Hi, Heather. Dreaming is my latest book of poems. It's on Kindle. Imagining is the other one. Hi, Val. And so you can download it if you like. And the money from that goes straight to the mission. It's a mission account, so I never see it. So there we are. I'm writing a third one as well. I'm also writing a comment on Revelation, having finished 1 Timothy. I was going to do 1 Thessalonians, but I think Revelation is worth doing. It's a very exciting book. It's one very easily overlooked, but actually it's very straightforward and very exciting. So I've begun to write that today, along with the conference on Saturday. And if you're on Saturday, 9 to 10:15 and 10:45 to 12, we'll be live from the conference this coming Saturday, as we do every Saturday, every conference, and then we'll be issuing the audios afterwards. So that's us. Strange, I haven't got the guitar. It's really strange. I usually fill in the spaces, don't I, with my guitar, but that's for another day. Hi, Betty. Yes, been a good day today. Lots of WhatsApp traffic today, and we keep on top of that. We keep our work together in that way, don't we? WhatsApp, Facebook, YouTube, and all our work is kept together in these ways. I've been talking to the family today as well, and 1 or 2 other people. So it's been a really interesting day today. I've enjoyed it. Hallelujah. I'm doing this tonight because I just want to. You know, I get a bit fed up with being constantly ignored and treated as an idiot, and as, you know, I've nothing to say. But I have another side to my life, which is I write poetry, and I also sing. And I just wanted tonight to do this. I've been thinking about what a poet does. It's interesting calling. I've been a poet since I was 10. Hi, Denise. Yep. I've been a poet since I was 10. I wrote a poem when I was 10. Fortunately, it's long since lost. But what it did was it showed me that what a poet does is speaks out of our other existence, our other reality, our inner self, that other country, which is us on the inside. We are we speak. Poets speak from that country, and they take words and rhythms, and somehow they seem to be able to interpret that other country into this country. That's what I think a poet does. He or she is able to be in that other country and is able to describe what they see. And I've been doing that all my life. I guess that's what a prophet does as well, to be honest. My first poem in this book is called Memories. I was listening to Paul Simon. I think he's a great musician and a great poet in his own right. And he has this song called Rene and Georgette Magritte and Their Dog After the War. It's a shocking title, isn't it? But in it, he has this line. They looked in their bedroom drawer, and what do you think they had hidden away in the cabinet cold of their hearts? And I thought, yeah, that's me. I have a cabinet inside of me, and I want to draw out of it what is poetic. And I wrote Memories, and this is it. It's like the cabinet door opened for me. It's so tiny, that memory. It hides in the back of the cupboard of my mind, and every now and again I take it out and hold it in my hands and remember. Sometimes I cry, and sometimes I smile, and sometimes I can't do either. Then I put it back in the place I got it from until another time, another day. Memories, remembering, remembers, reflections, regrets, and rejoicings. Memories, the bouquet of my life, precious forever. And you know, memories are from, hi Margaret, memories come from that other country, that inside of us. And who's to say that isn't reality? Who's to say this is reality? Who's to say that this inner country isn't also a reality as well? It's a different sort of reality, but it's as real as this one. And I think the poetic nature understands that. Her Rose understands that. It lives in this other country, which is real. I think that's what I'm trying to say, that the other country from which a poet writes is real, which is reality. This one or that one. I think the poet blurs the two together. And sometimes when he or she writes, it can be painful. It's so tiny, that memory. It hides in the back of the cupboard of my mind. Every now and again, I take it out and hold it in my hands and remember. Sometimes I cry, and sometimes I smile, and sometimes I can't do either. I was thinking today of memories, really. I was remembering Mary on our wedding day and how beautiful she looked. And, she was all dressed up in, all the old stuff, looking really fabulous. And I thought, who is this wonderful person that's come into the church? And my eyes went up to the face, and there was a familiar face. And I've seen that face all my life. And that's a lovely memory. But then the other memory is the empty hands that never held the child that died. And that's a painful memory. And they all live in there. And you don't really have any control over them. They come as they come. And they come in a muddle. And I think that poem, Memories, captures that, a little. Sometimes I cry, and sometimes I smile, and sometimes I can't do either. The cabinet of my mind. I like that poem. But I also love, I write a lot of love poems. I never thought I would. I didn't think that would be my thing, but I do write a lot because the inner country is full of love, full of memories of love. They make up our lives along with the sad things. And I write a lot about love. And I was reading the Song of Songs, and there's this line. It says, I search for my love among the lilies, and my lover is mine and I am his. And this idea of this poet seeking her love among the lilies just grabbed me. The beautiful whiteness of the lilies. I suddenly saw a whole field of them, and I saw this person searching amongst the lilies looking for love. And I wrote this: I lay forgetting who I am. I lean on my love, leaving my cares to fade among the lilies far away. Peace without worry, eternity contained in a love beyond my understanding. I rest secure. And the picture, of a field of lilies and searching for love among the lilies. It's such a lovely picture because it's such a lovely flower, Easter Day, resurrection. And who am I writing about here? Am I writing about my love for the Lord? Or am I writing about my love for Mary? In the inner world, in the inner reality, it's no need to separate those two. Those two are together. That in the love for Mary, I experience as a poet the love for my Lord. And in the love of the Lord, in Mary, I see his love for me and her love for me. It's a lovely picture, isn't it? Searching among the lilies for that kind of love. Because Mary loves me and the Lord loves me. They both love me. And among the lilies, they come together. And why would I separate them? Maybe as a big Bible teacher, of course I'd separate them. But as a poet, I let them run together. I watched somebody making a cake, and one of these professional cake makers, and he had a white top made of liquidy stuff. And then he had a little tube of red that he sprayed across, and then he smoothed them together, and they ran together. And I thought, that is my love. That is how I see love for Mary and the Lord and myself. And I lay forgetting who I am. I lean on my love, leaving my cares to fade among the lilies far away. Peace without worry, eternity contained in a love beyond my understanding. I rest secure. And it is beyond my understanding. I can't understand why Mary loves me, and I can't understand why the Lord loves me, but they do. And I lean on that love among the lilies. Beautiful, isn't it? And I've written many, many love poems, and I'm surprised at how many I have written. And that's the way it is, isn't it, really? It's the way the poetic nature runs in me. It seems to run very much in that area of being loved and valued for what? Who knows why people do that? Nice, isn't it? And then I've written a great many poems about, well, I have to call it suffering, because when our son died, now, was it yesterday or was it 40 years ago? You see, in a poet's life, there isn't any gap. And I thought, before that time, I thought I was quite a well-balanced individual. I had a wife and a family, 2 children, I think, and I had a parish to run. It was a responsible job. And I thought, oh, I've, got things well in hand. And then Philip died and my life fell apart. And I had to experience suffering and hurt in a very deep way. They became my companions. Sorrow became my companion, all for the next 30 years. And was very hard to deal with, as indeed it is for all of us. And it kept coming back and back. And in poetry, it poured out of me all the time. And this is quite recent. I think maybe there is some growth or understanding here. I don't know, because poets don't have to understand. You see, I don't have to understand anything. In the inner emotions and the inner country in which I live, I don't have to understand. That applies to my outer life. I need to understand, why did the internet go down? I need to understand, how do I run this computer? I need understanding, but not in this inner world. Understanding is a non-starter. It's the emotion that rules here. And understanding them is impossible, so don't try. I just let them splash around. And they splash out in poems. And this one is quite recent for me. And I think it's captured quite well, I think, something, but I'm not quite sure what. It's the joy about poetry. You don't have to understand it. It's not a problem. Somehow when you read a poem, it speaks to you and you don't know why. Then you've entered the inner world. Whose inner world? Your inner world. Not mine. I'm maybe just a signpost for you to explore for yourself. A cup of sorrows, my lifetime companion, seems never empty. I drink and drink, and I think at last it's drained, but it never is. Constantly refilled with sorrows beyond redemption, it's become my unwelcome guest. But I have learned through many a weary night, bitter though it tastes, I do not have to drink it alone. For another places his broken hands on mine and says, let's do this together. I used to fight, but now I'm glad I do not have to face this alone. And I think that's true. I think that's been my journey in my inner nature. First refusing to believe it, then refusing to accept it, then refusing to accept any help, and on it's gone year after year after year, and the cup just kept getting refilled, and eventually one day I said, I can't manage this on my own. And he said, well, then let's try it together, shall we? See, that's what I'm saying here, but I'm using images that come to me. Companion, the cup never empty, the unwelcome guest. These are the building blocks that come to me from the inner world. And if you want to write poetry, and everybody can, you must take hold of these building blocks that are inside these: a picture, a word, 2 or 3 words, a shape. You must draw it out and see how you can express it. That's what poets do. And this poem has been an encouragement to people, other people who struggle like me. There is some sort of way through. I don't know what, but there is some kind of way through. A cup of sorrows, my lifetime companion, seems never empty. I drink and I think at last it's drained, but it never is. Constantly refilled with sorrows beyond redemption, it has become my unwelcome guest. but I have learned through many a weary night, bitter though it tastes, I do not have to drink it alone. For another places his broken hands on mine and says, let's do this together. I used to fight, but now I'm glad I do not have to face this alone. And I think that comes from quite a deep place, I think, in my spiritual life. And yeah. And I also pick up a lot of images and stuff from children. There's a couple of poems here of children. I don't know what it is, but somehow they seem to activate my inner world, my inner reality in some way. This was a lovely experience. We were in Kensington Gardens. I think, and it was busy. And there's a lot. At one place, there's a very long road, reaches a long way. And I was standing there, and along came this mummy, and they'd just been to the ice cream stand, and the little girl, who was about 3, had an ice cream in her hand, and she was walking along, licking the ice cream, not looking where she was going. Why should she bother? She was holding mummy's hand with the other hand. And I wrote this. She holds the hand that loves her so strong, and in the other an ice cream, big enough for her eyes, but not her hand. One she licks and one she holds, and beyond that she doesn't think or need to. One squeeze, one love, and in her tiny world, nothing else needed. It's just a complete picture of trust and love, holding the hand and holding the ice cream. And I saw a little squeeze come. If she felt frightened or nervous or anything that slightly upset her or caught her eye, she's little, lots of people, this little squeeze. My life was difficult. I was having a difficult time. And I think the Lord said, well, take a look at this then. You see, you sort of think, you'll go have a look at Psalm, 23, But he said, no. You're a poet. Have a look at this. And I looked and I laughed, it was lovely. She holds the hand that loves her so strong, and in the other, an ice cream, big enough for her eyes, but not her hand. One she licks, and one she holds, and beyond that, she doesn't think or need to. One squeeze, one love, and in her tiny world, nothing else needed. I hope that lifts your spirit, that one, because isn't that really what the Lord expects of us, One hand in his and one, whatever we're doing. And if we're frightened or troubled, then we squeeze that one. And he goes, I'm here. Isn't that lovely? And then I've written many poems about African children because they are so incredibly beautiful. With their black skin and their eyes shine like diamonds. And when they smile, the sun lights up in the sky and they skip. And they're so incredibly beautiful. I've written many poems about them. And their eyes are like diamonds. They sparkle, because children's eyes are big, aren't they? Because their face isn't fully formed, but there's kind of these little diamonds tucked in this black skin. It's absolutely beautiful. Tiny diamond splinters set in a dark sun. Africa's child, dancing to amuse and confuse all prejudice. Colors on black skin, dazzling. A golden light born from centuries of blue sky. Her heritage. Warm she lays. No fears can break the line of distant treasure now resting in her heart. Africa's child, secure forever. There is a great, there is a great heritage in Africa, and these children are the fruit of it. These children are holding it. These children are it. And all the thousands of years of Africa's heritage and all the sun and the blue sky and the trees and everything that's beautiful is flowing into them. And they can rest in that heritage. They needn't worry about what the world thinks about them, what people say about them, because they have a treasure which any Western man or woman would long to have. Tiny diamond splinters set in a dark sun, Africa's child, dancing to amuse and confuse all prejudice. Colors on black skin, dazzling, a golden light born from centuries of blue sky, her heritage. Warm she lays. No fear can break the line of distant treasure now resting in her heart. Africa's child, forever secure. And the heritage of Africa rests in these sparkling diamond eyes, these beautiful, beautiful children. They are so lovely. Charles, got so many poems. There's different notes quite trying to read next, isn't it? I'm going to think I'll read The Forest next. Let me see. Yes. I'm very much a person who loves the Celtic stream of Christianity. For Africans, this is Ireland and Scotland and northern France and some of Wales and northern England. That stream of Christianity is very precious to us, because it sees in creation the Lord. It's very strong on that. Very strong on seeing in the blue sky and the sun the Lord, seeing in the trees the Lord, in the rolling hills the Lord. It's a lovely branch of the Christian faith. Of course, it was disregarded for centuries, but now, of course, with our ecological friends all around us, it's shining. And I love it, and I'm part of it. I see in the fields and in the trees and in the rivers and everything. I see, and I feel the Lord all the time, and I'm forever firing up my poetic pen. And one day I was. This will surprise you. I hope it won't shock you. I was in a coffee house, and it was perched on a hill, and the valley rolled away from me, up and up and up and up and up into the sky forever and ever. It was beautiful. And I wrote this. The forest flows across the hills, a never-ending stream of hope, splashing through the meadows on its way into the restless ocean, absorbed yet sparkling still, no longer flowing but eddies and ebbing at the pull of the moon. Completed cycle, it rests complete. The river of my life also wends its way to a deeper ocean, to be made complete by a Saviour's love. Many are the depths and desert places through which I flow, and often I feel lost, yet the restless river of my life still wends its way, insisting on its greater goal. One day I too will come to rest in the ocean, the great ocean, where ceaseless and ever still I will be complete forever. And, there is a restlessness in me. It's true, I'm a very restless spirit. I'm a wandering spirit. I never rest. And I watch the meadows flowing down to the ocean. where they found their completeness. And I wanted the same. I want to come down to my ocean, my ultimate ocean, where I can rest forever. And the meadows and the streams and the hills flowing down and flowing down and flowing down and flowing down until one day they flow into the eternal ocean. That's what I want. I long for that rest, for that peace, for that stillness. The rivers finally find a rest in the ocean. And I want the same. I want to find my rest in the ocean of the Lord's love. And recently, the Lord showed me that that place. He showed me that resting place, that stillness, that deep stillness. I went there for a few minutes, and I really wanted to stay there forever. That's me. I am a restless spirit. I want to go on and on and on and on until I finally can rest like the rivers in the ocean. Finally, undemanding love. My whole life since I was 6 weeks old has been filled with the undemanding love of the Lord. And I have been trying to pay him for it, but I can't. And one day I wrote undemanding love. Like a feather, gently rests your hand on my life. So light, I hardly feel its touch. It soothes my wounds and fills my emptiness with hope. Undemanding love, so precious. And I think that comes from a very deep place in my poetic nature, the place where I first met the Lord, and the place where I was first overwhelmed by a selfless love that wanted me for myself and not for what I could do. And I think as a poet, I've been trying to describe that. I've been trying to write that. I've been trying to reach for that. It's like trying to hold smoke. I keep on trying to hold it and hold it and hold it, and I can't get hold of it. And then finally one day, this one, and I had it in my hand. And it comes from the far country where one day we will be. It echoes down the hills from that far off land. Like a feather, gently rests your hand on my life. So light, I hardly feel its touch. It soothes my wounds and fills my emptiness with hope. Undemanding love, so precious. And there's another verse to write for that one, but I'm going to write it when I finally go to the far off land forever, when I stand in the presence of the one who showers me with undemanding love, and then I'm going to write the last verse. And I guess my poetic inclinations and desires will be fulfilled then forever. Well, I hope you've enjoyed those. I've enjoyed speaking about them. I do poetry evenings sometimes, and people like to know not just the poems, but how they've come, what the images are, what the background is, where I've been walking in the distant country, to know how the poems have come into being. And that's me. And I encourage you to write them. Please get away from dum-de-dum-de-dum-de-dum-de-dum-de-dum, which you've all had driven into us at school, because that kills poetry. It has to be free, and you write what you feel. That's all you do. And you take images and pictures, and you write as you feel, and you feel as you write. And that's your inner life. That's your far off land. And you write for yourself. I write for myself. I don't write for you. I write for myself. I've got hundreds of poems. I just write for the joy of describing the far off country in which I walk and you can walk. And I'm not bothered about reading them. I do sometimes because I do, but I don't. Most of my poetry is just for me, just to satisfy myself as I walk in the far off country. Why don't you try it? Just write what you feel. Do not rhyme, because that just imprisons. And don't try to iambic pentameters. Forget them. Forget rhyming schemes. Sit down with your pen, shut your eyes, see what you feel and write it. That's poetry. That's pure poetry. And it's just yours to enjoy. And I do enjoy my poetry. And I often look back at the things I've written and I enjoy them very much. So why don't you try that? From this poet, until the next time, nice to be with you. We will be attempting to do Chatterbox tomorrow, and we'll see how we get on. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for being with me. I think, out here, I just get fed up with people seeing me in one dimension, and basically rejecting me most of the time. That's okay. But I just felt tonight I wanted to share the other parts of me, the musician part of me we do in Chatterbox, and here we do in the poems. Okay, thanks everyone. Well, we'll click it off now, and by his grace, as we say out here, see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.